you want more?
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
All right, guys, we go to 11. Had a chance to speak with John Corabi, formerly of Mötley Crüe and Union. Obviously, his work with Dead Daisies, which he's announced his return to the band. The band has a upcoming best of compilation, which features a lot of his work with the band. Also, they have a North American tour coming up summer through early fall. And we spoke about his book, Horseshoes, Hand Grenades, and a little bit about Mötley Crüe. As you will see, and as he mentions, he's getting tattooed during the interview, which makes it for a little bit of a different interview. Anyways, check it out. Feel free to comment, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. So all right.
Literally
So,
in the chair.
oh, what an interesting interview. Hopefully you don't feel too much pain and it throws you off a little bit. But let's go at it, man. So you're back. You're back with the Dead Daisies. So how long has this been in the works?
Honestly, just a few months. Like
Okay.
I talked to them, and a few months back, David and I had dinner. David Lowy. And he told me that Glenn was going back to do the Burn tour. And I think I'm not totally sure, so don't quote me on this, but I think
Sure.
he's also Black Country Communion shows.
Yeah, right.
So
The recording. Yeah.
yeah, they just called. We had dinner, and he said, "Hey, man, you want to, how you feel, and you want to come back and have some fun?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." We had some stuff to sit down and sort out. Obviously I was concerned about the schedule being as maniacal as it was before. But even David said, look, he goes, I know those last couple tours we did back with me,
Right.
because we were all kind of frazzled. And he goes, I want to have fun. I don't want any of us to kill ourselves like we were doing before. And I was like, okay, that's all that needed to be sorted out. So we're back on the train again, and looking forward to the tour this summer.
Right. Now, yourself coming back to that, I mean, it sounded like you needed to get some stuff sorted out, but I think did you guys part on good terms? I think you did, right?
Yeah, there was no there was no bad blood at all. Even when they were with Glenn and on tour, like, we were calling each other like, hey, good luck on the tour. When I was in Australia with my solo band, I reached out to David Lowy and his wife, David Edwards, the manager, and his wife, and Tommy, our sound and tour manager, and to let them know I was in town. And, we all went and had dinner, and it was all good. It was just, we were just all so frazzled by the end of the Burn It Down tour. Like you got to remember from when I joined in 2015, we did the Revolution record, immediately went on tour. Dizzy and Richard left, Doug came in, and we immediately went in and did a record. So within, I'm talking from the time I started, not January to January, but from the time I started, 1 year later, we did 2 records.
Yeah.
And a full tour. Then we did the Live and Louder thing, and then we went back on tour again, and then we did Burn It Down and went back on tour again. And it was just, I think we were all just tired, even the management. So when I came back into it this time around, I spoke at length with David Lowy. We had dinner together. And then when I went up to New York for the rehearsals, even the manager came, and, we all hugged each other, and he said, you know what, let's just have some fun at a better pace that's suited for everybody. So I was like, awesome.
Nice. I mean, you're what I think a lot of people have kind of considered the voice of the band. I mean, you mentioned the studio records, you did a live record, you did a EP, well, not an EP, it's a compilation of the covers, and now a best of, which most of the stuff in there is you.
Well, but it's a little bit of everything,
Mm-hmm.
even songs that I sang on that first record, John Stevens had his hand in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Songs like Mexico and Something I Said. There was another song, I believe, called Critical.
Mm.
So a lot of people have been asking me about the best of record, which, by the way, came out today, pre-order wise.
Right.
But everybody's been asking, like, why a best of record? And it's just a marker. It's like, okay, been here for 10 years. This is what we've done. And the management put a great package together and they're putting it out. And it's like, this is what we've done so far. And the best is yet to come.
Right.
So hopefully next year, we're going to go out and do this tour. We'll come home and get some rest. And then everybody will start focusing on new material and getting in and delivering, a record that, lives up to the standard that Dead Daisies have done so far.
Now, the best of record, I mean, was that in the works prior to you coming back to the band? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I didn't even know about it. Like when I sat and talked to David, and then we had dinner, and I had no idea how this was going to play out. And, I walked into rehearsals, Brian, Doug, Michael Devin was already there, and David Lowy. And then the management came up and said, hey, we're going to do this best of record, and we're going to go out on tour this summer. And they handed me the track listing, and I was like, oh, cool. It's cool because it covers all of the singers they've had. And, it's again, man, it's just, I didn't realize it's been 10 years that the band around.
Right.
So it was just them saying, like, hey, here's a marker. Here's our 10-year anniversary. This is what we've done so far. And next year we'll get in and we'll just, like I said, the tradition continues.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's been a bit. It doesn't seem like 10 years. I think I discovered the band just at one of those rock star energy drink funded side stages opening up for like Alice in Chains. I saw them in Seattle and then saw them again in Ridgefield, Washington, which is close to Portland. But wow, I was sold on that. I mean, here you got John Stevens in a boot because he broke his foot or something like that, and they were still putting on a performance with Mendoza and obviously David and the rest of the crew. But what tunes, man? As far as the debut record, I've never seen you perform live with the Daisies. In fact, the last time that the band came through Portland, even Hughes didn't make the performance. I think he was sick, so it was kind of a bummer. But yeah. Now, you yourself, I mean, I'd love to hear your take on stuff off the debut, like Washington, Man Overboard, Miles in Front of Me, Tomorrow. I mean, all those things would probably suit your voice pretty well, I think.
This is what we're right now, like, for a lack of a better term, we're just blowing the dust off a lot of this stuff. It's suitable for my voice to sing, what I deliver, and John, I admire the hell out of John Stevens' voice. He's such a great, and the same with Glenn. We're all three of us are different. I'm going to go out and I'm going to play some John Stevens stuff that I feel comfortable with. And we're going to figure out the Glenn Hughes stuff. It's not going to sound like Glenn Hughes.
Right.
But it's my interpretation of the Glenn Hughes stuff. And, just find the ones that we do the best. And then we're going to put a nice set together that encapsulates all three singers. And we're just going to have fun. The circus is coming to town.
Nice.
So, Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you guys because you will be in Portland, and that'll be my first time seeing John Corabi with the Daisies. So I look forward to that very much. Yeah. Okay. So oh, go ahead.
No, but just make sure you come backstage and we'll have a beer or something late after the show.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about something too. I wanted to get you one of these books. I don't know if you're familiar with this book, but it's the Cause and Effect of Mötley Crüe, and it's based on your time in Mötley Crüe. So I don't know if you have that.
Actually, I do.
You do.
Somebody gave it to me on maybe about a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And I actually breezed through it, man. It was cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good read, and it's not, I mean, you can knock it out in probably like an hour or so. Speaking of books, though, because I know you have the book Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and for myself, the sign of a good book is the fact that I dig into it, get a pretty good read out of the thing, and then I want to savor the thing to the point that I only do a chapter a night kind of thing. So currently I'm in the middle of reading your book. I think I'm on chapter 20, where you're talking about getting into working with rat and stuff. What's been the overall feedback and stuff from the fans on the book? Because it's just a fantastic read.
It's been great. So far the response from the fans that have purchased the book, it's been all positive. The only negative I've gotten is, man, you dropped the F-bomb quite a bit in that thing. And that's just
right. Yeah,
oh.
The one thing that's interesting, because I was right prior to getting to that stopping point that I got to last night, is where you're talking about you got interviewed for the Dirt, and I think you were like, I don't want any money. I'll just take like a dozen books and pass them around to people, and you didn't even get a book, man.
Nope.
That's a bummer.
It's a good thing I wasn't holding my breath, because I'd still be holding it.
Right. So
yeah.
As far as that goes, I mean, during your and I'll ask, and no clickbait type stuff, but have you been in contact with Mick, and how do you think, how's he doing overall based on your conversation with the guy?
Well, we didn't talk. We were corresponding via text. And again, man, like somebody else asked me about this earlier. I don't want to get into their business,
right?
Because it always seems to end up as clickbait somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But this is playing out exactly how I thought it would. And right now, from what I can gather, Mick is pissed. Now, I don't know if he's rightly pissed or wrongly pissed, but he's pissed.
Right.
And we'll just leave it at that. That's something that they're sort through and figure out, and hopefully they can bury the hatchet, but who knows, dude?
And I was going to ask you about this, and then I'll drop the Mötley stuff, because I did see the 94, you on the 94 tour, but it seemed like at that point, I mean, this kind of goes back to some of the stuff that's come up and popped up online on YouTube and stuff like that. But it seemed like it was a genuinely live band at that point when you were a part of it.
Now,
as far as any enhancements, as in to enhance people's performance.
Well, I will say this: we were using enhancements, but it was more for like, do you remember the song Obviously Misunderstood?
Yeah, right. The orchestration.
Yeah, there was orchestration there. So we had a click track set up. Tommy had it in his in-ears. And, it was just to keep everything in time so the orchestra didn't start in the middle of a non-orchestra part, whatever. So, I mean, we did use some, and even some of the backing vocals where they had you like they had the girls, what were they called? The Nasty Habits?
Nasty Habits, right?
Yeah, so like girls
Mhm.
or Wild Side, some of those songs where they had the backing vocals with the girls
Mhm.
and we added them.
Right.
But as far as like the actual playing, it was Tommy on the drums, Nikki on the
Right.
bass, guitar, me on guitar, and we were definitely singing everything ourselves.
Right.
Uh,
Right. I think
so
one of the things that was a trip. I mean, obviously Hughes made it onto the Motley record. He sang on "Misunderstood," and then it sounds like you reading the book. It sounds like you guys brought him on stage at some point when you guys were playing in Hollywood on that tour. So
we played Palladium and he came by the show and we just said, "Hey, dude, you want to come up and do what you did on the record?" And he goes, yeah, that'd be great." And it was crazy. It was like he walked on stage, did the exact same thing, boom, left, and we're like, how does he do it?
yeah, no kidding. And you know, I mean, he hasn't been in the best of shapes throughout the periods of his life, so that's kind of amazing in itself, right there.
Yeah, this was obviously, if you follow Glenn's career,
Right.
uh, I met him in '92, and I think that he had just kind of found the light and was like very early on in his sobriety.
Mhm.
So it was good to have him, man, because I just showed my wife the video of me discovering Glenn Hughes, and it was the uh, Cal Jam performance in
Mm,
1974, Deep
right.
Purple, where he's in that white outfit doing those
Right.
in middle section of Burn.
Right.
She was like, "Holy shit! Like that's the same guy?" And I go, "Yeah," and he still sings like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just got a couple things and I'll cut you loose. You could get to your tattoo work there. Has there ever been any real close calls in terms of union reuniting for at least a gig or a handful of gigs or anything like that? And would you like it to happen?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. You know, the problem of it is I've been as busy as I can be. Bruce is doing solo recordings, Grand Funk Railroad. Brent's been doing, you know, he's been doing things, and he's been playing with Slash. So
Mhm.
really just about it's really just about everybody's schedule working. We haven't been able to make it work because again, you're talking about songs that we'd really kind of have to sit down and rehash songs that we played in 20 years.
Right.
So it's going to be like a few weeks of rehearsal, uh, and then setting up a tour, and it's just making the schedule work. So we have talked about it.
Right.
Hopefully when everybody's got a month or two off, we can go out and rehearse for a little bit and maybe go out and do a few shows.
Yeah. What do you think is more likely to happen? Damn Yankees reuniting or Union?
I'm just going to go on my schedule. Yeah.
You've covered a lot of Beatles tunes. What Beatles tune do you have an eye on covering potentially in the future, or that you would like to cover?
Wow. Um, that's a good question, man. They're all
Oh, I
so
got it, stumped you.
it's so great. Like their entire catalog is just insane.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one, but
Well, you know
we're gonna
what?
have to.
I may hit you up on that. Maybe you'll have an answer by the time you play in Portland, Oregon.
Okay, fair enough.
Last question, but it's probably the most important one at the moment. What are you getting tattooed onto your arm there?
I will. Here, I don't know if you can see this or not. I just
Uh,
want you to. It's my buddy Adam.
okay. Hey, Adam.
Adam actually did the artwork. If you saw, there was a crab inside of the book.
Yes. Yes.
He did the artwork for it.
Oh, no kidding. Nice.
See
Oh,
these
wow.
Mandelas?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing my arm here. He's got some master plan that I don't even ask anymore. I just
Okay.
go do what you do.
Right.
Just try not to get any penises on my arm.
Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. You don't want that. Fantastic. Hey,
Last time
John.
he actually laid his on my arm and traced it out, but
Oh,
it was
no.
very awkward.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, my gosh. All right, man. Hey, thank you for your time. It's been a blast. I am going to hit you up on the answer to that Beatles question when you play in Portland. So be studying up.
It still amazes me to this day the amount of brilliant songs they had. Um, that would be a hard decision to make.
Right.
But whatever, we'll figure it
Right.
out.
Okay, man. Hey, thank you so much. Welcome back to the Dead Daisies, and tell your buddy there to behave himself.
That's out of the question.
Oh, it's too late for that. All right, man. Thank you so much. We'll get this out to Chip and the folks at Chipster, and we'll see you in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome, buddy.
All right. Take care, man.
I'm in. See ya.
Bye.